Lanjut.
Okay, for group 1, you can start. I already start the record.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So in this meeting, we from group 1 will present it about a case study in the Bantar Gerbang, West Java, about the landslide disaster happened in this landfill in 2016 and 2000 around 2016 and 2019. Next slide, please. So before we start this explanation, we will see the videos of the site condition of the Banjar Gebang. You can see here, this is the video uh, that shows the landslide happen in Bantar Gebang. So we can see the height of this dam is 60 meters, and then the dam go to the lower side, it becomes a landslide because of the overload of the waste, and then the waste come to the street, and it uh happen in the continuously around the 2016. uh, because of the low waste management system at the site. Next slide, please. For the next will be explained by Haikal. To Haikal, time is yours.
All right, I would like to explain the slide. First is the introduction. The Batang Gerbang Final Disposal Site in Bekasi, West Java, is the largest integrated waste facility in Indonesia, spanning around 110.3 hectare. The site has been operational since the 1989 and receives the majority of municipal waste generated by Jakarta and its surrounding areas each day. Approximately 1,200 truck transport between 7,500 and 8,000 ton of Jakarta waste to Bantar Gerbang as the primary disposal site for the Greater Jakarta area or Jabodetabek. The immense volume of waste has resulted in towering amount of garbage, reaching the height and the exceed the recommended design limit of the landfill. Given the extreme operational scale, Bantar Gerbang has experienced several waste landslides that have led to fatalities. For instance, on January 27, 2016, a scavenger named Rumsina was killed when a garbage mound in Zone 5B collapsed on the top of her. On January 15, 2017, another scavenger named Sandy died after being buried under waste in Zone 4 when a truck unexpectedly dumped 6 tons of waste into an unstable pile below. This incident demonstrates that landslide at Batar Gerbang are not merely a potential risk, but have already resulted in serious consequences, including loss of life and damage to infrastructure. Okay, next is the environmental impact. Include 3 points. First is groundwater and surface water contamination. Second one is air pollution, and the last one is land degradation and vegetation loss. For the first impact is the ground and surface water contamination. This one is include the leachate from the waste field infiltrate soil and flow into the open drainage channel, and it contains hazardous substance such as heavy metal and toxic organic. And the field report showed that brown, foul-smelling leachate in the valleys, potentially polluting surrounding groundwater and river. And organic pollutant and metal in leachate increase the BOD or COD level, disrupting aquatic ecosystem. Okay, next impact is for the air pollution, include the organic waste decomposition release methane like CH4 and the carbon dioxide or CO2, with the methane having a high global warming potential. Lack of gas capture system contribute to greenhouse gas emission. Strong odors from leachate and decaying waste cause local air pollution, with evidence of the prolonged discomfort among the scavengers. Some inactive waste zones are covered with plastic to mitigate the odor, but effectiveness is limited. And the last impact is the land degradation and vegetation loss. Include the massive dumping has the transformed hundred of hectare into unstable mound of waste. Original vegetation has been lost and soil compacted, causing slope instability and erosion. Vegetation struggles to regrow due to pollution and heavy waste cover, resulting in habitat loss and increased the landslide risk. And the field observation confirmed the near total absence of the natural vegetation in active waste zones. So next one is impact on the waste management operation, including operational disruption, reduced service capacity, and also the public health risk, which uh, with the operational disruption, including the landslide block access road and operational zones, delaying waste collection and unloading. Next is the truck count strength for hour due to blocked or safe unsafe zone. The last one is waste disposal is delayed, causing backlog in the city level waste collection. Okay, I yield back to the moderator.
Okay, for the next topic will be explained by Uda Lutfi. To Uda Lutfi, time is yours.
All right, thank you. Then the second impact on waste management system is the reduced surface capacity due to unstable conditions in the waste mounds. Several dumping zones have been closed or are no longer operational, and the Bekasi Sanitation Office reported that the fifth zone and the fourth zone can no longer accommodate the waste, while the first and the third zone are no longer operational due to the capacity being exceeded. So as the result, the landfill ability to receive daily waste was diminished, even as waste volume continue to rise. Um, the closure of active zone has forced vertical compaction of waste in the remaining zones, so it increasing the amount high and the risk of further landslides. The next slide is the third impact on waste management system. Next slide, please. It's about the health risk. So open waste piles serve as breeding grounds for various disease factors like rats, flies, and insects, and pose the risk of disease transmission like leptospirosis, typhoid, diarrhea, etc. So the poor management where the waste is openly piled without treatment, it elevates the health risk for nearby residents. So comparative global studies indicate that unsustainable waste management frequently leads to water contamination and sanitation issues. So it increasing the pest population and disease happen. Although no specific health data exists for Bantar Gebang, the potential of for disease in surrounding slum areas is substantial if waste and sanitation management remains is inadequate. The next slide, please. So, what are the government and institutional response? The first is the initial action and site security. So following landslides, the Landfill Management Unit or UPTD of Jakarta Environmental Agency and the Bekasi City Government promptly mark and secure hazardous areas. For instance, the UPTD Bantar Gebang install warning sign in Zone 5B, so it are going scavenger to avoid the area due to the presence of heavy machinery and further collapse risks. And the Bekasi Sanitation Office also deploys security personnel to restrict the access to high risk zones. So these measures has aimed to prevent any additional casualties during evacuation and emergency response. Next. Evacuations and emergency medical services. Landslide victims were evacuated using heavy machinery and rescue personnel. In the 2016, the incident involving the Dickies scavenger ambulances and medical teams were dispatched to provide first aid and transport the victims to hospitals. The Bekasi City Health Office reported sending ambulances, doctors, and paramedics to the site and set up nearby health service at the local clinics in Bantar Gebang. So this effort were part of the emergency health response to manage the injuries and prevent any further health complications like contamination and infections among the affected residents and scavengers. The third government and institutional response is post-disaster investigation and policy review. The police and relevant agencies conducted investigation to determine the cause of the landslide and whether the procedural violation happened or not. For instance, in 2017 incident, Bantar Gebang Police and Bekasi Metro Police launched inquiries at the governmental level. There was discussion of evaluating management and imposing sanctions if negligence was found. But however, the report indicates that no significant new policies were formally enacted between 2016 and 2019. So instead, the DKI Jakarta and Bekasi authorities they implemented technical improvement in emergency zones and planned future expansion of waste disposal areas. Next. The involvement of private sector and community. So in Bantar Gebang's management, they involve private contractors, previously PT Patriot Bangkit Bekasi, and later of PTD of Jakarta's Environmental Agency, and the Environmental Agency. The local communities, especially scavengers, also play as a role as risk informants since they were the first to occupy high risk zones. So after the landslide happens, the scavenger communities and the local residents urge the authorities to repair retaining walls and resist landfill management. And the private sector involvement during this period was mostly kind of limited to technical support like heavy equipment maintenance or even dredging. So overall, the post-disaster response was reactive. It focusing on victim handling and site security, and the warning sign and evacuations were only carried out after the landslide occurred. There is no evidence of proactive measures such as early warning system or significant waste reduction initiatives during the period in questions. So infrastructure repairs like land expansion, retaining wall improvement were planned for the long term and progress slowly. Next. I think that's all. Giving back to moderator.
Okay, thank you for all. So for the next topic, will I will explain for the next topic. So for the corporate and policy action matters, it includes stronger environmental laws, sustainable supply chains, and investment in reforestation. For the Lutfi, can you unmute your mic, please? Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. For the first is food causes, design flaws, and overcapacity. The wasteland site at Bantar Gebang are largely attributed to substandard site design and inadequate waste management practice. The towering waste piles reported to reach 20 until 25 meters or more were placed on unstable slope, exacerbating the risk of collapse. Sanitary cover practice were also insufficient. For instance, some reports indicate landfill operators applied only 20 centimeter of soil cover, falling short of the minimum 60 centimeter requirement. Inadequate cover layer, poor liquid drainage, and the absence of gas ventilation systems rendered the moats highly vulnerable to collapse when disturbed by heavy machinery or external factors such as rainfall or vibrations from the trucks of that pass by in the landfill. And compounding the issues is chronic overcapacity. A 2016 report from the Bekasi government noted that zones 4 and 5 were already full and no longer suitable for waste deposition. Consequently, vertical stacking was used beyond the intended design, creating dangerously steep slopes. Next slide, please. For the next is lack of early warning and risk monitoring systems. As of 2019, Bantar Gebang lacked an integrated landslide early warning system. There were no publicly reported geotechnical slope analysis or real-time land movement monitoring. In contrast, modern landfills typically employ tilt and pressure sensors to detect shifts in slope before collapse. The absence of such monitoring tools at Bantar Gebang has resulted in delayed response to landslide. Advanced facilities in other countries often implement slope monitoring and rapid mitigation strategies when cracks or shifts are detected, highlighting a crucial technological gap in Indonesia's landfill management. Next, please. For the next is comparison with global best practices. Advanced nations such as Japan and Singapore adopt radically different waste management strategies and aim at minimizing landfill reliance. Both countries process nearly all of their waste through high efficiency waste to energy, incineration, and robust recycling system. Their approach include strict source separation, low emission incineration technologies, and strong regulatory frameworks. These systems are further supported by engineered sanitary landfill practices, including reinforced gas control and multi-layered cover system. In stark contrast, Bantar Gebang continued to rely heavily on unmanaged open dumping. This highlights the urgent need for a paradigm shift, such as the development of thermal treatment facilities, for example, incinerators or waste to energy plants, to significantly reduce the volume of organic waste reaching the landfill. Next, please. And for the long-term policy recommendation, based on the analysis, several key improvement can necessary. First is upgrading landfill design, transition to proper sanitary landfill standards, including impermeable liners and efficient leachate drainage system. The final waste cover thickness should meet the 50 until 60 centimeter standards observed in international practice. For the second is diversified waste management, expand 3R, reuse, reduce, recycle initiative, and promote organic waste processing like composting and biogas to reduce landfill pressure. And for the third, implementation of monitoring technology, introduce geotechnical monitoring and gas ventilation system to enable early detection of slope instability or gas accumulation. And the next is landfill expansion strategy to accelerate the development of alternative waste disposal sites beyond Bantar Gerbang to prevent excessive vertical stacking. And the last is stronger regulation and enforcement, reinforce environmental compliance by imposing administrative sanctions on landfill operators who fail to meet safety standards as urged to the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Next. For the conclusion of this case study, dual impact of the disaster, the waste landslide caused by serious environmental damage to the water, air, and land pollution, and disrupted waste management operation, resulting in fatalities and infrastructure damage. Government response was reactive. In this case, local authorities responded with emergency measures such as evacuation, zone security, and medical assistance, but actions were reactive and taken only after the disaster occurred. For the next is root cases is the overcapacity and technical non-compliance. The landslides were primarily due to overload waste volume and failure to meet technical standards, including inadequate daily cover thickness. For the example, less than the required, which is 60 centimeter, and need for a paradigm shift in landfill planning to emphasize the importance of adopting sanitary landfill principles and reducing incoming waste through upstream policies like 3R and waste to energy incineration. For the next is urgent need for risk management monitoring system. There is a clear need to implement advanced monitoring technologies and build qualified human resources to anticipate and manage landslide risks effectively. For the last is implication for future landfills in Indonesia. Future landfill development in Indonesia must prioritize environmental sustainability and operational safety. supported by robust planning, strict regulation, and continuous monitoring to prevent similar disaster. Next slide, please. So this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for all of your attention to our presentation. We hope the information we share was clear and insightful. So at this point, we would like to open the floor for any question or comments you might have. Please feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask two questions to group 2. Maybe Areta, you have question?
Okay. The insightful of the presentation. So my question for you guys is for the first one, considering the root of causes of the Bantar Gerbang landfill landslides, what changes in waste management policy and infrastructure design should be prioritized to shift from a reactive to proactive disaster prevention approach in Indonesia? And also for the second one, how does the lack of early warning and monitoring systems at Bantar Gerbang reflect broader systemic issues in Indonesia's landfill management practices? And what lessons can be drawn from global best practices to address these gaps? I think that's all for me. Giving back to moderator.
Thank you, Areta, for the critical question. So for the second, for Ami, you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you for the group 1. So the questions from me, the first question, given the non-presence of toxic leachate and also the methane gas emissions at Bantar Gebang, how has the landslide exacerbated these risks for surrounding communities and ecosystems? And how effective are current monitoring systems for landfill stability and waste management, and what improvements are urgently needed? And for the second question, why has Bantar Gebang continued to operate as an open landfill without transitioning to a sanitary landfill system, despite decades of overcapacity and known engineering risks? And what institutional or financial barriers have prevented the necessary upgrades and risk mitigation investments in landfill infrastructure? That's all from me. Thank you. Back to the group 1.
Okay, thank you for all your question from group 2. That's we met at the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time and attention today. We hope our presentation has provided valuable insight and answered. We can answer your question next. We also apologize to if we have any mistake or if some parts were unclear during our presentation. Once again, thank you and have a great day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.